Why everyone might be wrong about Connor Bedard. That headline has hockey circles buzzing, and the label, "The Next McDavid," has already seeped into every podcast, highlight reel, and barstool debate. Expectations that High can crown a teenager or crush him long before his prime. After a roller coaster sophomore year, which outcome you see depends on where you look. Rewind to his debut. Bedard tore into the NHL with 61 points in 68 games, a Calder Trophy, and enough jaw-dropping highlights to resurrect a sagging Blackhawks fan base. Every rush felt like a promise that Chicago's future had arrived early. Fast forward 12 months. He logged a full 82-game slate and bumped his totals to 67 points. Yet something seemed muted. The points per game fell, the plus-minus sank to -36, and the nightly magic looked harder to find. Analysts pointed to faceoff woes, defensive lapses, and the Hawks' continued freefall as signs the hype machine might have oversold us. But raw numbers rarely tell the whole story. Dig deeper, and Bedard remains elite in shot generation, transition entries, and high-danger creation, metrics that separate future superstars from mere scorers. Factor in a revolving door roster, 3 coaching voices, and a system still searching for an identity, and his trajectory starts to look a lot less shaky. So which picture is real? Tonight we'll peel back the layers, the electrifying highs, the context behind the lows, and the underlying data that still screams generational. Because whether you're ready to crown him or question him, the truth about Connor Bedard is far more fascinating and possibly more surprising than the headlines suggest. Connor Bedard's arrival didn't merely excite Chicago fans, it electrified the entire league. His junior numbers read like myth: 71 goals in 57 WHL games, World Juniors records shattered, and a wrist shot that seemed to break slow motion replays. Scouts whispered McDavid level ceiling, pundits crowned him the next face of hockey, and the battered Blackhawks sold out season tickets on lottery night euphoria alone. The hype machine shifted into overdrive long before opening night. Training camp scrimmages trended on social media, preseason jerseys sold out in minutes, and local broadcasters cleared airtime for a nightly Bedard watch segment. When he scored his first NHL goal, roofing a toe drag wrister past a bewildered veteran goalie, the United Center erupted like it was June hockey, not October. Bedard's rookie stat line, 61 points in 68 games, placed him 8th in rookie points per game since the 2005 lockout, but the raw totals only skimmed the surface. He logged more individual scoring chances per 60 than any 18-year-old in a decade, led all rookies in shots on goal, and posted the league's highest highlight reel quotient. From fearless end-to-end rushes to physics-defying puck handles that froze defensemen mid-stride, every game felt like a trailer for hockey's next era. Off the ice, his impact was just as seismic. Blackhawks merchandise revenue spiked 40% year over year, local youth hockey registrations hit record highs, and season ticket renewals approached a decade peak. Inside the locker room, veteran teammates spoke of an infectious drive. Bedard lingering on the ice for extra reps, dissecting video with coaches, and challenging veterans to post-practice shooting contests he usually won. All signs pointed the same direction. The generational prophecy was on schedule, and Chicago's darkest days finally had a sunrise. But greatness is rarely a straight line, especially on a team in disarray. Fast forward to year 2. Bedard appears in all 82 games, finishing with 67 points. On the surface, those totals look fine, even impressive on a last-place roster, yet the eye test felt flatter. His points per game dipped, his plus-minus crashed to -36, and he registered fewer explosive rushes. Critics pounced, pointing to a bleak face-off percentage and a Blackhawks defense leaking high-danger chances like a sieve. But a closer look reveals nuance. Bedard's expected goals share remained top-line caliber, his individual scoring chances created actually rose, and Chicago cycled through 3 head coaches and 14 forward combinations. The truth, Bedard plateaued statistically, but his underlying impact hinted at growth beneath the rubble. To understand that hidden growth, we need to examine Bedard's greatest weapon, the shot that made scouts gasp. Calling Bedard a sniper undersells the science behind his release. The magic begins with an extreme top-hand supination, wrists corked to nearly 90 degrees, turning the shaft of the stick into a flexed spring. In one fluid motion, he drags the puck inward, loading torsional energy, then punches his top hand forward while yanking with the bottom, generating explosive recoil. Because the power originates high on the shaft, Bedard can fire from awkward body positions that would jam most shooters. Weight on the wrong strong foot, toes pointing away, puck in tight to his skates. Goalies hate it. The puck changes angle mid-drag, hides behind shin pads, then rockets off the blade before they track the release. Engineers have measured stick speeds north of 60 miles per hour from snapshots alone, comparable to the full clappers of mid-tier NHL defensemen. And Bedard fires often. Among forwards under 21, he leads the league in shots per 60 minutes. Deadly accuracy means little without open ice. So how does Bedard manufacture space against grown man defenses? Great scorers don't wait for soft spots, they create them. Bedard's favorite trick is the false drive. He feints a hard net crash, luring defenders into collapsing, then stops on a dime and floats backward into the slot. By the time his checker realizes the bait, Bedard's blade is cocked. Watch the overtime winner against the Islanders. He cycles low, sells a wraparound route, pivots back inside, and collects a seam pass untouched. Game over. His spatial instincts extend to extended possessions too. Along the boards, he uses micro pivots, tiny hip swivels that shift his center of gravity, allowing him to peel off pressure, scan options, and either dish cross ice or curl into the middle. Even more impressive, he's learning to layer those movements, chaining 2 fakes in succession and losing defenders twice in 3 seconds. That level of off-puck IQ is normally reserved for 30-year-old vets, and when defenders over-respect the shot, Bedard flips the script and becomes a playmaker. Because every blue liner in the building expects Bedard to shoot, passing lanes light up like runway lights the moment he loads his stick. Bedard exploits this with surgical feeds. Quick touch passes through the Royal Road seam, no-look dishes off the half wall, and soft chips into weak side space for trailing wingers. Despite Chicago's league-worst shooting talent, Bedard generated 1.3 primary assists per 60 at 5-on-5, sniffing McKinnon territory. On controlled entries, he varies speed masterfully. He'll ease into the zone, drawing the gap tight, then hit a button hook, flipping the puck back to a late charging defenseman for a bomb. The advanced numbers love it. Among under 20 skaters, he ranks first in zone entries, leading to scoring chances. This dual threat identity forces opponents into pick your poison decisions, and most nights they guess wrong. Still, every prodigy harbors weaknesses, and Bedard's are impossible to ignore. Let's be blunt. Bedard is not Patrice Bergeron in his own end, at least not yet. Chicago rolls a hybrid defensive scheme that toggles between low zone coverage and man-on-man pressure once the puck moves high. In theory, it squeezes the middle. In practice, with a green roster, it often devolves into 5 players chasing ghosts. When that switch flips, Bedard is occasionally a beat late identifying his mark. A single hesitation leaves a backdoor lane wide open, hardly ideal when you're already facing the league's 8th worst team save percentage. The eye test isn't lying, but it can be deceptive. Shift by shift tracking from Corey Snyder shows Bedard forcing the 4th most takeaways among Chicago forwards, and he's top 3 on the team in successful defensive stick checks. He reads passing lanes well, times stick lifts with the precision of a pickpocket, and rarely panics under board pressure. Where he struggles is engagement at the point. When defensemen walk the blue line, Bedard can lose inside positioning, giving shooters a free lane to the net. That nuance, good instincts inside 20 feet, suboptimal reads beyond, illustrates a 19-year-old still calibrating to NHL pace. Then there's the dot. His 38.3% face-off win rate ranks 114th out of 120 qualified centers. Grim optics, but contextual clues matter. Bedard took 59% of his draws on his weak side due to roster imbalance, and a staggering 47% came against top 6 opposition. Crosby hovered at 45% in year 2. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins dipped below 40 before climbing to 50 by age 24. Face-offs combine muscle memory, leverage, and the dark art of reading an official's cadence. Skills refined through thousands of reps. During morning skates, Bedard now logs an extra 50 draws with assistant coach Derek King acting as faux official, tweaking his grip, experimenting with half-moon stance adjustments that allow quicker rotation of the top hand. Analytics confirm progress. From November to April, his win rate in the offensive zone crept from 36 to 42%. On the power play, it jumped to 46%. Small, encouraging upticks. Defensively, his isolated impact, per evolving hockey, still shows a minus value, but it improved by 0.3 expected goals against per 60 from the first half to the second. Translation, the lapses remain, yet the curve is upward. Considering the learning environment, a rookie blue line, rotating line mates, and constant score chasing, spacing, it's hardly shocking some habits lag behind. Ultimately, Bedard's defensive deficiencies aren't ceiling killers. They're typical checkpoints on the superstar syllabus. Add muscle, repetition, and a coherent team structure, and those minuses can flip faster than many realize. To gauge his overall trajectory, we have to zoom out. How does year 2 Bedard stack up against the pantheon of recent number 1 picks? To gauge his trajectory, we must zoom out. How does year 2 Bedard compare to other number 1 picks? Strip away jerseys, markets, and hype. Focus strictly on age-adjusted points per game and quality of teammate context. By those measures, Bedard's first 2 seasons rank 7th among number 1 picks since 2000, wedged between Steven Stamkos and Austin Matthews. Only Crosby, Ovechkin, McDavid, and a couple others leapt ahead faster, and none did it while dragging a bottom 5 roster. Advanced metrics echo that. Evolving Hockey credits Bedard with plus 11 goals above replacement in 2 seasons. McDavid posted plus 14 in his first 2, while sharing shifts with Leon Draisaitl half the time. Plug Bedard's current shot and playmaking rates into Colorado's top 6 usage, and he projects near 95 points. Toronto's power play environment nudges him past 100. Context, in other words, is everything. History offers optimism. Nathan MacKinnon dipped in year 2 before erupting by year 4. Stamkos battled faceoff woes early, then peaked at 123 points. Bedard's toolkit, world-class release, elite IQ, obsessive work ethic, tracks that same superstar arc. Give him structure and support, and the ceiling remains sky high. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. Generational status isn't bestowed by hype. It's earned through adaptation, consistency, and playoff dominance. Bedard has mastered step 1, proving his toolkit translates against NHL men. Steps 2 and 3 require better teammates, refined details, and time. He turns 20 this season. Crosby's first Stanley Cup parade came at 21, McDavid's at 23. Young phenoms stumble before they soar, and Bedard's sophomore stutter is hardly a stumble, more a pause. If the Blackhawks build a structure that lets his gifts breathe, the question will shift from will he be generational to how many records can he rewrite. Until then, the hype remains on hold, but the potential still burns white hot. Now ask yourself, will you bet against a kid who's already bending physics at 20?